I'm going to invite Kathryn to the stage and have a wonderful talk.
Thank you, Travis. Welcome to Four-Legged Wisdom. Many of you already know that a pet can help reduce stress. Is anyone feeling a little stressed lately? I don't even need to see a show of hands. I think they'd all go up. Mine definitely did. But aside from that stress relief that we can get from our pets, they can also provide us with a lot of wisdom if we just give that some thought. So this afternoon, I'm going to talk about 5 lessons that I've learned from my past 3 dogs for life and business. So let's begin. Travis, thanks. Meet Bootsy. Can you tell this is an old picture? Bootsy was a Chihuahua, and she and I traveled the journey from elementary school to high school. We were best of buds, and we had this little game that we would play. And that game was, I would scrunch up my hand like this, put it on her snout. She would growl and get really mad and upset. I'd take it away and we'd be buddies. Now you might think, that's really great, Kathryn. What a cute story. But what does that have to do with business? Well, lesson number 1, Travis, growl, but get over it. When I pulled my hand away, we were buddies. She never looked at me when I walked into the room and just growled randomly. No. It was all over. What we need to remember is we're going to get mad. We're going to get angry. We're going to get ticked off. But we need to let it go. How often has something set you off and you just let it fester and permeate through your day? I know I have. Traffic, back when we could get out there, but not. So growl, but get over it. Next, improvise and get noticed. Now, clearly, that's not Bootsy. And that was not the way that she would improvise and get noticed. But as a small dog, when we put her out, if she wanted to get back in and didn't tell us, she'd just sit on the front step. So what she had to do was she would jump up against the door, jump and jump. Very cute. We could hear her, we could see her, and consequently, she got noticed. For us, as humans, everyone wants our attention, correct? As business owners, we want to make sure people know we're out there. We want to make sure that they know about our product, about our service, what we can do for them. And there's so many different ways, correct? We've got all the social media when we can actually get together again. We could exchange business cards maybe if we're wearing gloves, I'm not sure. But there's so many ways to connect with people. We have to improvise and we have to get noticed. So those were the lessons from Bootsy. I'd like you now to meet Katie. There she is. Isn't she adorable? Katie was my wonderful tricolor collie. And after Bootsy left us, she had to pick up the slack, carry on through high school and into college. Now, Katie, as adorable as she was, particularly when she was a puppy, Katie had this puppy trait. For those of you who have dogs and have had puppies, what do puppies like to do? They like to chew, right? Yeah. So Katie's chew toy of choice was the siding on the house. She would pull a piece of siding off the house and chew on it. She managed to do that all around the house, a piece from every side. My dad was not a fan, not even close. However, he was the one that was the disciplinarian. He was the one that trained her, and he was very specific about that. He would say, you can't discipline a dog unless you can catch them in the act. Otherwise, they don't know. So when he would catch her, he would discipline her. And consequently, as she grew up, she was a very disciplined dog. And we eventually moved from that house that he had to replace the siding and paint the whole thing because of her antics. We moved across town to a bigger home on a corner lot. It was a busy street. It did not have a fence. It was before electric fences. And he was able to walk her around the perimeter of the yard a couple of times and just say, don't leave. Don't leave. And she didn't. The other thing was that street was the thoroughfare for the elementary school kids to go back and forth to school. So she was able to be in the yard, free to run around. The kids could pet her and play with her, and she never left. So the lesson from Katie was discipline is opportunity. That discipline allowed her free reign of the yard. She wasn't on a leash. The kids could come and go. And then when they were gone, she'd just go sit on the front stoop and watch the cars go by and watch the people go by. For us, when we are disciplining ourselves to do the work, maybe make sure that we're physically energized, we work out, we eat well, we get enough sleep, and then we're doing our own homework for our business. We know our product, we know our service, we know how to articulate it so that when we have that opportunity, we are ready for it. We've got this. So that lesson, discipline is opportunity, was one that I learned from Katie. Lesson number 4, you don't have to follow the crowd. Remember what I said about the kids? They would have loved to have her go to school with them. They loved her. She didn't have to follow the crowd. There was no need. And by the way, did anybody's parents say, you don't have to follow the crowd other than mine? Well, by not following the crowd, she kept her freedom. They still respected her, they still loved her, and they still wanted to be with her. When we don't follow the crowd, we can be the leader that we want to be. We can be that trusted resource. We can be the person that others come to because of our knowledge, our expertise. So we do not need to follow the crowd. In fact, we don't want to follow the crowd and we don't want to blend in, right? Let's go back to Bootsy's lesson. Improvise and get noticed. So let's not follow the crowd. Let's move on to the final dog. I would like you to meet Bear. As you can see, Bear was a pretty large Doberman. And if I had had a photo of her standing up, you could see that she had a Rottweiler build to her. And when we got Bear, I was probably in my late 20s, early 30s. And we were thinking, let's have a dog that will protect the family, protect the household. That's what we'll have. I always wanted a Doberman. We get her as a puppy. She's adorable. She grows up. And what we found was that Bear was a big teddy bear. She would not bark. She would not growl. We would even play tricks on her. We would say, okay, Bear, we're leaving. We would leave, have our neighbors go over to the house, ring the doorbell to see if she would even get up and come to the door or bark or do something. And she didn't. She didn't do any of that. Well, that's okay. Because Bear, being a Doberman, we think differently about Dobermans, correct? If I had Bear and Katie next to each other, which one would you find more approachable? I think that would be Katie. Well, we had Bear running in the yard, or if Bear came out, even though she was very happy she wasn't growling, people would step back from her. And they weren't necessarily going to buy our story that she was a teddy bear. So the lesson from Bear is how you appear matters. And for us in business, that's very important because you only have 7 seconds to make that first impression. And what you want in that first 7 seconds is to take that impression to be very solid and one that you can continue forward with, right? We want to make sure that when we walk in, we're dressed appropriately, that our posture is confident, that if we ever get to shake hands again, that handshake is firm. How about the materials we're presenting? We want them to be professional. We want them to speak to who we are and what we do. So it definitely is how you appear matters. So as a recap, what are those 5 lessons? Number 1, growl. You can growl, you can be mad, but you need to get over it. Don't let it fester. Don't let it ruin your day because you're the one that loses. Number 2, improvise and get noticed. That's for sure. We don't want to blend in. Number 3, discipline is an opportunity. It provides those opportunities because we are ready. And number 4, you don't have to follow the crowd to be loved, to be respected, to be sought out. You don't. And number 5, how you appear matters. So, what I'd like to know, what lessons have your dogs taught you? For life? For business? For both? So I'm looking forward to the time when we can gather in person again and maybe continue this conversation. But for now, I think I will look forward to the comments that come through after the presentation. And with that, you now know the 5 lessons that my dogs taught me for life and business.